Hello and welcome to our Tuesday learning. We're going to look at a mitzvah from Parashat Shoftim, which we'll read this coming Shabbat. And there's lots of mitzvot in Shoftim. We're going to look at number 523. Shlo yakum davar ha'edus be'ed echad. One never relies only on one witness in a legal case. The Jewish system is always based on two witnesses for all matters. You probably see this most often at a wedding, where two witnesses will sign the ketubah and two witnesses will witness the giving of the ring and thereby the contracting of the marriage. So let's look what the Chinuch says. We are prevented from establishing the nature, the parameters of the punishment which we meted out to the person convicted, or even to extract a fine or even a monetary punishment regarding or on the basis of the testimony of Eid Echad, only one witness. Afiluhu betachlis hakashrus v'chachma, even if he is the ultimate in fitness and in wisdom. So you have an absolutely spiffing witness in every regard, but no matter how good he is, it still cannot be only on the basis of one witness. Or afilu novi, even if he is a prophet, even if he is of that level of excellency, still you need two witnesses. V'yalzeh nemar, and about that it is said, lo yakum eid echad be'ish l'chol avon l'chol chatas. You never establish one witness for any wrongdoing of any sort that somebody else may have committed. You always require two witnesses. Now, why should that be the case? This is what the Chinuch is going to tell us, in his opinion, the reason why we never rely only on one witness. Mishar mitzvah, amongst the roots of the mitzvah. And here's a very powerful and maybe even contestable statement about the nature of humanity. Lefisha yete leiv adam ra. The nature of the inclination of the heart of man is wicked. So a very pessimistic view by the Chinuch, even though I've often said this is rather a sunny, sort of cheerful book. He thinks fundamentally that the dominant impulse in a human psyche is towards the wicked. Lifamim yale belibo nita al chavero, and therefore sometimes there arises in the human heart a desire to behave badly towards your fellow. Afilu haya ha'adam betachlis hakosher, even if this person who's now developed a grudge against their friend, even if they are really, to all intents and purposes, the absolute ultimate in fit and proper and upstanding, nevertheless, lo yinatzel mechet lifamim, everybody occasionally stumbles into sin. Va'af ki yamod Adam Yamim Rabim B'darchei Yosha, and even if somebody spent their whole life, many days in pursuing the right path, Eina minha nimna lisapech b'mashavato laharshia, they can flip, they can just turn unexpectedly and become wicked. Shahari Amru Zichron Bracha, and the sages, the Talmudic sages, give examples of this happening. Ki Yochanan shimesh b'kahuna gedola. Yochanan was the high priest. V'liv sof, but in the end, Nased Sadoki. In the end, he became a Sadducee, unlike the rabbis who were Pharisees. Gamamru, also they said, B'chananya ben Azor, about B'chananya ben Azor, Shahaya Techila Novi Emes, he started out as a true prophet, but Sof Nasa Navi Sheker, but in the end he became a false prophet. So he sank from the absolute heights one can achieve of real prophecy of God, and he became a false prophet. One can turn from being a really good guy to being a really bad guy unexpectedly. Al-Kain, who? Ra'ui v'chasher hadavar shelo lismoch alev ech adam. Therefore it's appropriate not to rely on just the heart of one person, la'nos chaveru al-piv, that you're going to punish somebody else based on what they have to say. V'afilu yeh Hanenas Rasha Gomor, and now a very important point about due process. Even if the person who would be due for punishment is an absolute wicked person. Tos, and he is the lowest of the low. V'hameid chacham gadol b'Yisrael, and the single person who's testifying against him, is the greatest sage in Israel. Aval b'yos idim shnaim anashim kasherim. We'll pause there. So even if the accused is the lowest of the low, and the single witness is the highest of the high, even in such a situation, you do not convict and punish somebody on the basis of that one witness. What do you have instead? Two witnesses. Aval biyos ha-me'idim shnayim anashim kasherim. But if you have two upstanding people, chazaka b'chol zera Yisrael, there is a presumption that amongst the Jewish people, shalei yaskimu shnayim laha'id b'sheker, you're not going to get two witnesses who are going to bear false witness in this way. That's a presumption. It's not known for sure, but it's a working assumption. And this is a standing principle. We don't assume that two witnesses are going to perjure themselves, but we just do not rely ever on any one witness. And in fact, the very next mitzvah that the Chinuch is going to look at, which we're not going to discuss today, is what you do when there are two witnesses who conspire with each other against the accused. That is dealt with in the Torah, because it does happen, but the assumption is it's not going to happen. Whereas we kind of assume that if there's one witness, he could be up to no good. Because, as the Chinuch says, we have to assume at any rate that somebody could move from being good to bad without us knowing and without any warning, and therefore you can never punish somebody either physically or materially on the basis of only one witness. A very good prevention of abuse in the judicial system. Look forward to learning next week, and everyone have a good week. Be well.